Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Nine Sim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So I keep seeing videos of white men crying up and down, and this one is a man that came out to talk about his tax, how much is he is paying, and how that is like so much. And I remember that during the election, like during the campaign, right? This man came out to talk about how, like, some people, when it comes to tip and the rest of it, you won't pay taxes. Like, he sold so many lies to you people, and then you people were very gullible and believed him. Now, let me say this, the fact that some of you, like, how do you believe someone that has been lying to you like all years, and you like the fact that some people are not learning from their previous mistakes and all that tells you how ignorant some people are and how people are not ready to read, right? Or listen, even really listen to people that know better than you. Because sometimes there might be something you might not be able to read and probably comprehend, but then you go to people that know better than you and ask questions. Like I saw one of the brothers was talking about how they think that they give black people handouts on what, on what exactly. American had never asked for black Americans, they have never asked for any handouts. Like, but then why do they always say that they have? The reality is that black people have been killing it back to back, back to back, back to back, right, without any handouts, and they are not asking for it. Let's get into this video.
I just went in and had my taxes done. This year I earned $85,727. My net take home was $75,415. In federal taxes, I paid $10,312, and now they're telling me I still owe the federal government $1,428 for a total of $11,740 just in federal tax. Now, somebody please explain to me why the average citizen, the little guy, is paying $11,000 in tax, and our politicians are blowing that money on bullshit. I'm not paying taxes anymore. Kiss my...
In a world where your follows are the paintbrushes and your reposts are the paint, the picture that you're painting for the world on the internet looks like dog shit when you come on here and complain about the taxes that you're spending. It doesn't make any sense to us because from what I can deduce, you voted for Donald J. Trump. Why? I don't know, but it's fascinating to me because in 2017, when he was president 45, he signed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that reduced the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21% permanently. Yours and my tax rate was not a permanent tax cut. So we looked good in 2018 and 19 so that he could attempt to get reelected. And now, because those tax cuts sunsetted, you start to see your tax bill increase over and over and over again. Here's even more fun news for you. Because you voted for Donald J. Trump, and again, the taxes, right? That tax plan is set to expire at the end of 2025, fiscal year 2025. His proposed tax plan is going to jack your taxes up even more. And guess what? If he gets his way, the corporate tax rate is going to go from 21% to 15%. Who's making jobs? Where are the jobs? Tell me. I would love to hear that. So that answers your first question. Your second question, which is a debatable question, right, is why are we spending so much money on things that we don't need to spend money on? You're going to bring up things like Gaza, Mozambique, spending $50 million on condoms that prevent the spread of HIV, AIDS in an impoverished country, right? You don't like that? And we can have a debate on that. The things that I don't like spending money on are a fucking F-35 airplane that's sitting at the bottom of the damn ocean that cost us $2 billion for one plane. Those two things aren't the same. They're not the same in cost, and they're not the same in the effect on the world.
Trump's tax bill was just released, and guess what? It doesn't include no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, and no taxes on Social Security. So just another thing he lied to you about so he could get tax cuts for his rich friends.
The night before the Black Panther Party was set to launch their free breakfast for children program in Chicago, police broke into the church where it was going to be held and urinated on all of the food. Let that sink in. Armed officers sent in not to stop a crime, to seize weapons or drugs, but to desecrate meals set aside for hungry kids, because feeding each other for free under an unjust system is one of the most dangerous things that you can do. The Black Panthers understood something truly radical. Hunger was not just a personal misfortune, it was political. Under capitalism, when people struggle to meet their own needs, they're told that it's their fault. Work harder, be more responsible. But mutual aid shatters that illusion. It exposes the truth that suffering is not a personal failure. It's a designed outcome of exploitation. And when people realize that, they stop feeling ashamed. They start feeling angry. They start organizing. And that's why the government saw free breakfast as such a threat. J. Edgar Hoover himself, the head of the FBI at the time, called it the greatest threat to neutralizing the Black Panther Party. Not their guns, not their protests. Free breakfast for children. Because when people realize they can take care of each other, they stop waiting for the system to save them. They stop believing in the system at all. And when the state couldn't stop them, it stole the idea, launching a federal free breakfast program in the 1970s, feeding millions of kids to this day. But they stripped it of its radical message. They turned it from an act of empowerment into an act of charity, keeping people as passive recipients instead of active participants in their liberation. That night in Chicago, when police destroyed the food, they were not just attacking the Black Panthers. They were attacking the idea that people could break free from a system that was designed to keep them struggling. Mutual aid is not charity, it is power. It's a blueprint for a world where we take care of each other instead of waiting for the people who benefit from our suffering to fix it. And once you see that, you can't unsee it.
For Donald Trump.
I voted for Donald Trump and now I regret it.
A lot of people who were like me voted for Trump and have to account for that.
I regret voting for Trump.
So deeply regret my vote for Donald Trump.
I regret voting for Trump.
I was a dumbass, voted for Trump. It was the worst decision I ever made.
I mean, it's too late now. It's too late. And none of those people can say that they weren't informed on what was actually going to go on as far as policy, right? As far as, policy that was going to be enacted. They were all informed about it. They were all told about it. I mean, even the Project 2025 thing was in their fucking face. But they chose racism. They chose hatred. They chose bigotry over actual policy that would either... Basically, they chose the shit that didn't matter and really wasn't important over things that were really important, just like that farmer. And this is why I always talk about the undertones of things, the subliminals of things, the underbelly or the dog whistle words that they use that, like DEI, right? Prime example. They heard that, instantly thought black people are getting jobs over me. When DEI is the infrastructure or the ecosystem of equal opportunity in the Civil Rights Act. DEI is basically workplace environment. And it's not just for black fucking people. And it doesn't mean black hires. Like they have quotas and slots for black people. That's not what it was. Even men, even specifically white men, can benefit from DEI. Nursing and teaching are female-dominated fields, right? It's not that in these hospitals or education departments will have hiring fairs in places that are male-dominated in order to try to recruit qualified or interested male talent to that field. It's not saying, hey, we have 50 slots for these men. It's trying to recruit qualified people who are in a certain field. And if they pass those things and they are qualified, then that creates those people that you want into the pipeline. Lactation rooms in your office so women don't have to pop a fucking titty out in the middle of the workplace to goddamn pump. Putting changing tables in male bathrooms because we were sick and tired of changing our kids because we take care of our kids too on the fucking dirty ass ground. Diversity, equity, inclusion, but we've explained these things over and over. But like I said, until it impacts your pockets, people don't give a fuck. And now you want to do a take back. It doesn't work that way because there are real life consequences. It's a game to them. It's a game to them because as they can do shit like this and it really, but it has real life implications. And black people have been dealing with this shit for decades, while they walk around bullshitting and that's why they never said the policy. It was always bigotry. It was always hatred. It was always that white flight and bringing back that pride and whiteness. Giving a fix to that white mediocrity. That's white survival. That's all that shit was. And if you get to asking them what they really voted for, you know what I'm saying? Based off their answers, 9 times out of 10, you'll hear that. You'll hear the undertones. They'll hide it behind the economy and shit. But when you really get to asking them, it's, I didn't want, I'm pro-life. So you give a fuck about what other people are doing, right? I don't like these pronouns. How is that hurting you? Calling someone he, she, they, whatever the fuck they want to be called. Well, I don't want men in women's sports. Like, how many fucking men are really in women's sports? Like, let's be real. How is that really hurting you? I don't want gay and black books in my kids' school. Like, how is that hurting you? How is it really hurting you? But then you get situations like that farmer who voted against the very party that gave him the life-changing money that changed his family's life. He voted against that for what? He never says why he voted for Trump, though. I wonder why.
The rules have always been stacked against Black America. And the narrative has always been spun to say that it was our fault. But I want to talk about the story that has been told about our community versus what we have always asked for in this country. Don't you think it's funny? One of the main focuses of disrespecting the Black community or telling a story about the Black community from other ethnic groups is us being lazy. They make sure to repeat that over and over again. Black people are lazy, they cut corners, they use resources like DEI in order to get ahead or cut the line. Why do they tell that story? Well, because the truth is, Black America has never asked for a quote-unquote handout. Even going back to reparations, these other communities have been told that we wanted money. We just wanted to be paid off. That is why they continue to deny us reparations now. What's not talked about is how what we actually asked for was land. We asked for land that we could take care of and build our own lives through our own strength. Because if you did not know this, when Black people were allowed to build their own communities in this country, they did very, very well. They also were self-sustaining. A lot of them did not rely on the federal government to help them. They were able to help themselves. But that does not benefit capitalism. And capitalism is fueled by white supremacy. You see, everything we're seeing with Project 2025 is the same. It's the same thing that white supremacy has been doing to our people since the beginning of this country. They don't want there to be any sort of even playing field for us. They cannot let there be an even playing field for us. Because if they let that happen, we wouldn't have to depend on them for anything. And guess what? The white supremacy would die right in that moment. They want the country to believe that we are the problem. We have always been the problem, so that they do not allow us to be a part of the solution. And that is American History 101, ladies and gentlemen. You don't even need critical race theory to understand those facts.
He said what he said, the last person, and that it's some period. There are some things you do not need critical race theory to know what they are, to know what is going on. But we all already know what they are doing, right? Have we not even sat down and asked ourselves, why is it that reparations has not been paid? I have actually sat down myself and thought about it. Why? These people know how important you are. You know how these people do? I don't want you, but I don't want to let you go because they know how important you are. So I am just going to, like, not give them that reparations to just make them stay, right? The reality is that they absolutely know that if they pay these reparations or they decide to give Black people the land that they were supposed to give them, trust me, the people that will remain there, I'm not saying everybody wants to, but trust me, Black people will never ever look at them again, right? And then let's get back to those ones crying that are, see, I really do not understand what these people were waiting for or what they hoped was going to happen when they voted. At some point, one thing that I always say, they feel like they are immune. And when people are immune, they feel like some things are not going to happen to them or some things will not touch them, not knowing that it will be hitting them left and right. Because as it stands, it is hitting them left, right, center. Majority of them said it was the groceries, right? And even I saw videos of them talking about how some cannot feed their kids anymore. Why? Because they can buy cheese, the things are expensive, and the inflation was high, according to them. Now, you all can see the prices of groceries, how high they are becoming every day, and they cannot say anything. Now, excuse me, everybody is regretting why they voted. Like, I keep seeing videos every day, them talking about how they are regretting their decision. The reality is that nothing could be done. I mean, this mistake has been done. And I am not going to say this was a mistake. It was an intentional, masterminded, because you all masterminded it. You all said this is what you wanted, right? A lot of people wanted something different for everybody, and you all went and voted for yourselves. Now you always see what you voted for because everything is playing out already. And for the man talking about how much he's paying in tax, you have not even started paying tax because don't worry, by the time you enter March, April, you definitely will see how much. And even tax return, I learned that getting tax return back is like going to heaven this time around. And some people, yeah, I saw it. I know what I saw, right? So the real thing is that everybody really have to buckle up. And I am not actually very much concerned about anybody. Why I am always bringing these videos is because they thought that it is, when people do not want a certain kind of people, and to them, they fully believe that it is going to hit my own people first before it hits them. Mm-mm. And last I checked, I have not seen any Black person coming out to scream about the prices of groceries. These things were the things that they were very much prepared because they knew. They knew. One thing I have understood about Black people, and I keep saying it, is that when they say something and you are confused about what they said, just do not bother. Give it a month, maximum two, right? You will see the results. They won't be the one explaining it to you. Everything that will play out, that will teach you the lesson, and that is the answer you wanted. And I have been a typical example of it. When I started this thing 3 years ago, if I am not mistaken, the Black content creators I was following, right? I listened to them so well because some people will be like, how did you? I listen to Black women, most especially Black men too, right? There are some things I get confused about, right? I keep quiet. I don't talk about it. I just keep making research. And then that thing, exactly the same thing they say will happen. When I say exactly, I mean 99.9. I will just take away one because, like, you know how the word 99.9. That is to tell you that they are 100% correct of everything they have said so far. People have lived the experience. Their experience is different from every other person. You see, the problem with some people is that people do not want to give credit to whom credit is due. They think they can get everything by fire, by force, but life does not work that way. When some certain things happen, what do? You listen to the people that have lived that experience. It's just like when you are going for therapy, and the therapy knows, or I mean, that is something he or she might have studied and all that, how to take care of people, very broken-hearted and all that, and they give you the instruction that they are supposed to give you and the rest of it. Black people were very specific when they were calling everybody out to come out, let's work this all out. And some people were really, really very disrespectful about it, call them so many things. And now it is all playing out. And you all still want them to turn around and come back and speak on what exactly? What do you want them to speak? What do you want them to talk about? Right? So now this is I keep saying, I have said this several times. You see, everything playing out now is something everyone needs to learn from, right? A very teachable moment for those that understand. And the reality is that in the end, there is need to have a proper conversation. When I say a proper conversation, a very serious conversation. This may not happen today, this may not happen tomorrow, but that is something that is very vital that may make Black people change their mind about some certain things. But so far, it is FAFO season, right? The more you F around, the more you find out. And I just hope that I don't know, but I am not hoping for anything. But one thing I am hoping for is that my people are well and okay and secure. That is the most important thing for me. The rest can just enjoy the fruit of their labor. I am clocking out. I will see you all in my next video. Bye for now.